Hello, welcome to Calling America, where patriots from across the U.S. come together to discuss current bills being passed by Congress and executive orders being signed by former Vice President Joe Biden, and furthermore, how those bills and executive orders affect each of us in our respective states. As always, unless we are quoting direct sources, all statements in this video are personal opinions. You can find all sources in the description below.
So I know that they've already really tried in really shockingly of all places in Orange County, and there was tremendous pushback. So now they're trying to kind of obfuscate, and they're not really calling it a passport, but they're doing exactly what all of you have alluded to, with regulations from corporations. And to me, this is a huge concern because, one, it is not legal. These are experimental, and every single one of the websites says that. These are not FDA approved. These are emergency prophylactic, which is kind of an oxymoron. I don't know how you have something emergency prophylactically because emergency is usually an acute treatment of something. But that's what this is. It's an emergency prophylactic treatment. Or not even treatment, but experiment. And so it is not legal to mandate something of that sort. So that is a huge concern. I agree that it is creating a caste system. I mean, this is very reminiscent of Nazi Germany. In fact, the New England Journal of Medicine actually suggested that children who have been vaccinated get yellow stars, or they didn't say yellow, but stars, Freudian slip there. And to me, that is just so incredibly reprehensible that they would even consider, pushing this on children. It is experimental. We don't know what the consequences will be. My other concern really is about the people who have medical concerns. On all of these websites, they talk about people who have any sorts of allergies are at tremendous risk for anaphylaxis. And they don't disclose all of the ingredients. And I'm not just talking about the, experimental components of these mRNA or the viral vector mechanisms. Not just that. Of course, we don't know the full mechanism of how that works because it is experimental and it's novel. So we don't have all the information on that, and they don't disclose all of that. But they don't even disclose all the ingredients, the fillers, and just, what's being injected into you and what facilities they're cross-contaminated with. And that's a grave concern for people who do have allergies, especially people who are anaphylaxis. They could die on the spot. And so where are their exemptions? That needs to be discussed. That needs to be addressed. People need to be able to. And what happened to religious exemptions? Mm-hmm. To have something injected into you, lots of people, that does not comport with their religious beliefs. So that needs to be addressed as well. And as we've seen from the mask mandates, they're not honoring the Americans with Disabilities Act. They are not honoring religious exemptions. They're using the COVID emergency as a blanket excuse to push through whatever mandates. Mandates are not laws. People need to understand that as well. There is a difference between the two, and laws trump mandates. And the Americans with Disabilities Act is a law. These mask mandates are mandates. So that's really what I'm concerned with. But hopefully the FDA does not approve. It does not pass, FDA approval. But at that point, if it did, then we'd have to worry about it being legal to put an actual passport mandate. But at this time, it's not legal to do that. But what we do need to be concerned with is these corporations who are being incentivized. I mean, even Biden said that he would not make a federal mandate, but that he will, encourage corporations to enhance their COVID safety, security. I don't remember exactly how he worded it, but it was something to that effect with the vaccines. So I think we do really need to be concerned about what the corporations will do and how they will make lives very difficult if you are not vaccinated. And I think the other thing people need to be concerned with is that we don't know much. I'm in the process of doing deep dive research on this, and I'll have an article on it, but we don't know what the consequences of the shedding of the vaccine are. We do know all vaccines shed. That's not new information. Most of the research shows that up until 70 days, someone can be in close proximity, and it can be through inhalation. Certainly, other close contact is puts you at risk for vaccine shedding. And that's true of all vaccines, of course, because this is novel and experimental. We don't really know the full consequences. And we've seen some anecdotal stories that are not looking all that encouraging. And that is something people do need to be concerned with. And people should have the right to, what about their safety? If you're being put into an environment where everybody is being required to be vaccinated, then those people are going to be vulnerable and be at risk of being in contact. And it's even in the Pfizer manual. They say that people, they particularly talk about pregnant women, that there is a huge concern about shedding with even these vaccines, quote unquote vaccines. But so I think the passport is something that a lot of people should really be concerned with. And I think we should really be concerned not just with the technical passports, but how they're going to, because there's been so much pushback. I've seen it in California. They're now trying to change the terminology, but it's still the same thing. So I think we need to be concerned about the wolves in sheep's clothing that we might be faced with.
I have heard they're maybe in the future trying to make it a part of the State Department when you actually apply for a normal passport. And when you apply for a visa, you'll have to show that you've been vaccinated with your vaccine passport card. That's really concerning because there are people that either will choose not to get it or that simply can't get it. So does that mean that they can't ever travel anywhere? They can't ever go anywhere because they don't have this vaccine? And the problem that I have with this is if vaccines work, right? If this vaccine works, for the people that get it, why are you worried about people that don't get it? Okay. If that person decides not to get it and you think that they're going to die because they don't get it, well, that's on them. And yeah, they might die. Who cares? That's their choice to make. And to have a passport in order for you to participate in sporting events, concerts, in order for you to go buy your groceries, in order to do all of those things, you have to take something that is equivalent to chemotherapy. That should be very illegal. I think that it should be unconstitutional. Now, the problem is the precedent isn't really on the side of people that don't want to get the vaccine at this point. There have been times in the past where, for the greater good of American citizens, they have done vaccine mandates, which is just a whole nother thing. But I also think that former Vice President Joe Biden, he says, well, I'm not going to say that I'm going to mandate it, and I'm not going to say I'm going to have a passport. But he also said he wasn't going to end fracking and cancel the Keystone Pipeline. So what did he do a couple days into office? We all know he's a liar. And I would not put it past him or put it past the rumors for them to be true that he might actually use the State Department in order to push this through under his rule and reign of the country.